Hey everyone, I am Tammy Davis and really want to tell you thank you for being here. I'm hoping you joined me because today's topic or discussion is about pleasure. It's not my usual health condition, if you will, but pleasure, because the truth is that we're all wanting enjoyment in our life. And I'm hoping that's kind of what brought you here. And I just want to say that the purpose for this came from the recent completion of my course that I just recently developed. That's titled Self as Sanctuary, which, let me just kind of digress for a moment and explain that probably is not the most appetizing, and I use that word on purpose, and that's probably not the most appetizing title for a program. Yet what I find is that the majority of us are seeking pleasure. We are seeking satisfaction. We are seeking a place of safety, more importantly. And if you see me look away, I'm just making sure that my camera is still on, because I've been shooting this for a while and it keeps turning itself off. So keep in mind, I'm not just changing my eye. I'm not just kind of like randomly looking away. Anyway, that said, we're all really looking for a place of safety in our lives, and we tend to turn to other people, other places or things, and even belief systems as a form of sanctuary, a place that we can just go. Oh. And while those things are all very valuable, the bottom line is, unless you're safe within yourself, you're not going to really fully experience safety out in the world. There will always be some level of turmoil, and it's that level of turmoil that is disrupting the way the body actually is functioning, and it's contributing to health issues. So that's the reason why I call it self as sanctuary, and really getting to the point of digesting the information that we're being inundated with, whether it be through relationship or through commercials or through political or what have you. All the information, including food and body care products, we're getting so much information into our system, and it's very disruptive, to say the least. And so being able to support the body at that level and digesting, again, the information coming in from the mind to the emotions to the actual food that we're eating, and assimilating it so that it is functional within our system, is really important. And through the development of that course, I tapped into the importance of pleasure and the physiological effects of pleasure. So when we actually allow ourselves to enjoy, there is a true benefit to the system. It is a true stress reliever, and that stress relief is imperative when it comes to the way our bodies are breaking things down from our carbs, fats, and proteins, and being able to utilize the vitamins, the minerals, and the phytonutrients. See, they all work together, but the primary issue that I feel like we actually have is the way we are breaking down and assimilating. So even though gut health is important, it's how we're assimilating on a cell level, and this is where stress relief really is necessary. And so that is how that program came to be, Self as Sanctuary. But through that, like I said, I tapped into pleasure as access to uplifting, elevating our ability to utilize nutrients. And in the process of finalizing this project, it occurred to me that I probably should talk about pleasure, because that can be a very slippery slope for many people. As you know, we talk about addiction, and there's chemicals involved in the brain, the neurochemistry, that is relegated to the reward chemical. There's also the pleasure chemical, and these would be your opiates. So the pleasure actually signals to the body that it's going to be rewarded. And so cravings can actually be pleasurable because we are anticipating. And what science has been able to demonstrate is through this anticipation, we are actually altering our chemistry such that because we're waiting for this, okay? And this is the reason why I'm saying it's a slippery slope. And I'm not saying that you have to be diagnosed with an addiction. You may be living with some level of addiction that you are aware of. Maybe you aren't aware of. This, regardless, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means there's an imbalance within the neurochemistry. And if you've gone to the extreme of excessive levels of craving and craving whatever it is that brings you pleasure and then indulging in that and then finding yourself in this vicious cycle, there are ways out of it. I want to assure you of that. And again, we are on a spectrum of who's going through what or how one person experiences this. And and as I said, so through the determination of what pleasure can actually do in helping to relax and soothe the body, it can actually prompt a further stress response, number one, depending on what your choices are. And number two, because there is more than just dopamine and opiate, or endorphins. That's really what opiates are. We have our own opiate receptors. I should probably go on record as saying that we have opiate receptors, which are used to pick up endorphins, and endorphins are really considered our pleasure chemical. This is where when you get involved with exercise, chocolate, there's the endorphins are produced and released from the immune cells, and this is really how we come to feeling good. And then from feeling good, depending on our system and where we are at in our current moment, we may be anticipating a reward. Now you've just triggered the production of dopamine. The reason why this can get so sticky is because stress will prompt this. When we are at high maximum levels of stress and we just have shit happening and we don't know what to do about it, or we've been dealing with health issues, or we're taking medications, it doesn't make any difference. Basically, we are all at a chronic state of stress. And the fact is that when we reach maximum level, we will find something automatically, innately, that would actually bring us pleasure. It actually would help us feel good. We start daydreaming about something. Oh, I would love to go on that vacation, or oh, I would just love to get away for the evening, or I just could use a bath, time alone in my bathtub away from my kids, whatever the case may be, we find ourselves in that space. And that, believe it or not, that alone is self-medicating, because you are actually working, your mind is really working, your body is really attempting to reduce that, because you're going to implode if you don't explode. And so you are actually self-medicating to the point where you can feel some degree of pleasure and as you anticipate a reward. Now, whether you follow through on that or not, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but it doesn't matter for the purpose of a diagnosis. Okay. I'm kind of cautious with that, because in my opinion, all of us, like I said, are on this spectrum, on a range of craving, pleasure, reward. Cravings are not a sign of weakness, if I haven't already said that. They are not a sign of, we lack willpower. They just are, they're actually a safety mechanism, depending. Okay, so this is part of the reason why I go on record as to saying I don't do I can't provide specific responses, because unless you've gone through a full assessment, because I don't know that much about you. I need to know more specifics in order to be specific. So that said, depending on where you are, you're going to go through a craving. You're going to anticipate something, which is yay. And then you're going to reward yourself, maybe. If you don't reward yourself, you've already gone through the physiological changes. Things have already shifted. So you might as well go through with it. Now, if you're looking at using illicit drugs or doing something dangerous, then you might want to figure out a different way to take care of yourself. I will suggest that, because my goal here is to do no harm. My goal here is to help you be well. And so if you're anticipating something that's going to bring harm to yourself, then please seek assistance. There are professionals all over the place. There are people who do online counseling at this point. So there are services available. So I just want to make sure that that's said. If you can get yourself to a point where you can reward yourself in a favorable way, then that's a good thing. Otherwise, you're stressing the body even further. So it's going to keep stepping it up, and it's going to make things harder on your system. It's going to complicate matters, and it's going to ultimately contribute to the way your body is no longer using your foods effectively. You may be getting some benefit. And again, like I said, gut health is important, but actually how your system is assimilating it on a cell level, that's where the rubber meets the road. And so that is my point on pleasure. It's, I wanted to be responsible and kind of begin a conversation about this. So like I said, I want to be responsible with this program. And at the same time, I thought everybody would at least do well to understand that there are physiological changes that are occurring, and to kind of breathe a new light to this, eliminate the stigma that we kind of carry around, like I shouldn't be thinking that I want this, I shouldn't eat the cookie, or I shouldn't eat the bag of chips. Whatever we tell ourselves we should or shouldn't, we're actually complicating matters. And to find healthful ways of shifting those cravings into a more, like I said, shifting those cravings for pleasurable moments or pleasurable things into more healthful choices, so that your body will actually respond and source you in a favorable way. So that's really the most important part. It's what you end up choosing to reward yourself with is what's ultimately going to happen. It's ultimately going to affect the outcome and how your body actually serves you. I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure that I, was kind of clear about my point here is really, my point is to help begin alleviate stress. And there's nothing wrong with wanting something, feeling the pleasure of it, and actually allowing yourself to create it. And if you were to think of a child, when we were children and we were told no, we couldn't have something, it pissed us off. And unless somebody kind of redirected you and go, well, no, you can't do this, but we can give you this, that could be part of the reason why it's difficult for you to go, well, I can't have that, but I can have this. So we have to retrain ourselves to think, well, I can't do this, but I can do this over here. And this will, because I like this too. And again, finding healthier choices so that your body will actually serve you. If you are dealing with alcohol issues, craving a glass of wine and then allowing yourself to have a glass of wine and then another glass of wine is not really helping you. There are other ways that you can, what else will bring you that sense of peace in this moment? Maybe it's stepping away, maybe it's it depends on where you are. Maybe it is actually calling a friend. Again, like I started in the beginning, there are things outside of us that actually do bring us pleasure. But ultimately, finding sanctuary within yourself is the most important piece. And shooting all over yourself isn't going to do it. So remind yourself very gently, I don't want to do this, but I can do this over here. And yeah, so there you have it. I just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry if I seem a little scattered. My computer's been acting very strangely today, and I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page about pleasure. So if you've taken the course, thank you very much, and this is a part of that. If you haven't taken the course, you might want to consider it. It's on special right now, $38. It's about 2.5-week program, and definitely tools that you can use from this point forward. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Synergessence.com. If you want to check out anything else, I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for joining me. I'll talk to you later.